That was about like him and Diddy were beefing.
Drake is right now. That's all I got. That's all I have to say. He's putting in his work. I didn't do nothing to Drake. Drake is my friend.
All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is.
It seems not just Diddy, but Drake is also catching heat in 2025, as Katt Williams reveals how Drake is involved in Diddy's tapes.
Back on beat. Turned around. Make sure you didn't even see a second of embarrassment. But I was scared.
Katt Williams might have been onto something more, and more rappers are being dragged into some messy stuff. And now, Drake's name has popped up in those infamous Diddy tapes.
Because in 30 years, I've done nothing but collect information, knowledge, and your secrets.
At first, it might sound too crazy to believe, but when you start connecting all the dots from way back, like 2014 back, it doesn't feel so far-fetched anymore. This whole Diddy situation, it's got layers. And for the first time, all those old rumors are starting to make sense.
There's only one that I could come up with. And there's a few I could come up with. Will Smith. He's bigger than Diddy. I would think.
Let's rewind to the early morning hours of December 8, 2014, at the VMA after-party. Diddy and Drake reportedly got into a serious altercation. According to several outlets, Diddy caught Drake outside the club, and things got real physical, so much so that Drake allegedly ended up in the ER.
If you can't be right, and I can, and I'm like shooting at you, and I got all these guns, and I'm shooting at you, but you just won't die, right? But I'm able.
Insiders claim it all started when The Game claimed that Diddy once put out a hit on Drake, and said there were even physical altercations between the two. So with everything that's coming to light now, Drake's cryptic Big Short quote might not be so random after all. It could be his way of drawing a line and saying, I was never a part of that crowd. Drake and Diddy's rocky history goes way back to 2014. Things first got heated when a clip of Drake snatching a mic from Diddy mid-performance went viral. Then came the drama over the 0 to 100 beat Diddy believed was his. Drake used it, and that only added fuel to the fire.
Over something in Miami outside of Live.
I think Diddy allegedly did him or something.
For those of you who don't know what happened, back in 2014, things got real heated between Diddy and Drake during a night out at the LIV nightclub in Miami. Both of them had showed up for DJ Khaled's birthday bash, the one dubbed The Temple, during Art Basel Week. What was supposed to be a lit celebration quickly turned into a tense face-off.
Diddy would have dealt with that beat.
I know.
It's like a Drake beat. But there were like calls, going around LA, and it was like, Drake here, Drake there, who will run up on him.
According to reports from the Miami New Times, the two heavyweights got into an argument that ended on a pretty intense note. Diddy reportedly told Drake, "You will not disrespect me," before allegedly landing a punch. Yeah, it was one of those nights where the party mood flipped fast. At first, everyone assumed Diddy punched Drake over Cassie, who was dating Diddy at the time. To many people, it sounded like classic jealousy drama, right? But Sam Sneak, who was actually there, jumped on Twitter to set the record straight. It definitely wasn't about Cassie. So what really sparked the fight? Word is it was all about business, specifically money and music. Witnesses say the tension had to do with who owned the rights to a song and the profits that would come from it. Basically, both of them wanted a bigger piece of the pie, and things got physical. Diddy later tried to smooth it over like nothing happened. On air, he said, "I did not put hands on Drake. Oh, and I do not want any problems with Drake. Drake is right. Now that's all I got. That's all I have to say. He's putting in his work. I didn't do nothing to Drake." But let's be real, people weren't exactly buying that. Reports and eyewitnesses were already painting a different picture.
Historically, we've heard about you putting hands on people throughout the years. Like, what made you put hands on Drake?
I did not put hands on Drake.
Oh.
And I do not want any problems with Drake. Drake is, right now, that's all I got. That's all I have to say. He's putting in his work. I didn't do nothing to Drake.
Allegedly, this whole thing started because of the 0 to 100 beat. Diddy believed the beat was meant for him, but Drake got to it first, dropped a track, and blew it up. That didn't sit well with Diddy, and the Miami showdown was the result.
Anger management issues, maybe?
The temper.
Man, I mean, one of the things is just, being more of a human being. And
Fast forward to August 2015, Diddy sat down with the Breakfast Club and said everything was cool between them. But behind closed doors, word in LA was that Diddy had supposedly put a quiet bounty on Drake. Like if someone spotted him around the city, there was money to be made. People started making calls like, Drake's at this spot, he's over there. It got serious.
honestly, Drake is actually my favorite rapper. You know what I'm saying? As far as
Drake, clearly not taking any chances, made a power move. He linked up with The Game, someone who was deep in the LA streets and knew how to navigate all that heat. From what The Game later hinted at, folks did approach him about setting Drake up. Instead, he had Drake's back. But that kind of protection, it came with a price. That's when Drake gave him the track 100. They even shot the video in Compton, not for street cred, but for security. And if you listen to Game's lyrics, he spells it out. Ninjas called me to set you up, want me to come and wet you up, 'cause you out of town too like Biggie. Then heard about the ish Diddy on, so I came through to vest you up. Basically, he flipped the script and said, sure, Drake was good. Still, with even all that, Drake was on edge. During the video shoot, Whack 100 said Drake got spooked when he saw a group of unfamiliar faces. He panicked, jumped into a van, and tried to leave. Turns out those guys were there to protect him. Whack had to calm him down and get him back on set.
Even there was a clip of you at a
yeah,
club.
yeah. There was a 0 to 100 was initially a record that was my record, and then there somehow there became just a misunderstanding because we was working with the same producers. Honestly,
what once felt like rap beef drama is now looking like a real-life thriller. And as more stuff comes to light, it seems like Drake was in deeper than most people realized. However, on September 23rd, Drake quietly stirred the pot with a not-so-subtle post from one of his lesser-known burner accounts. He shared a screenshot from The Big Short, 2015, featuring Ryan Gosling's character saying, I never hung out with these idiots after work, ever. I had fashion friends. Drake's latest post is just another classic Drake move, dropping a cryptic pop culture reference that has everyone talking. He's known for using subtle jabs and clever timing to make a point without ever saying too much. And this time, fans think he's sending a clear message. He wasn't hanging around for Diddy's wild parties back in the day. Now, the timing of this post is raising eyebrows, especially since it dropped right when the internet's buzzing with talk about certain rappers possibly being involved in Diddy's alleged freak-off parties. The timing of the post, combined with everything coming out about those infamous freak-off parties, has people thinking Drake is distancing himself from that whole scene. Word is those parties weren't just harmless fun, they allegedly turned dark, with disturbing and bad behavior once the night wore on. And Drake seems to be making it clear he wanted no part of that. Fast forward to now, and stories about Diddy's alleged bad behavior are bubbling back up, especially with everything going on in court. After being arrested in New York on serious charges like ST and racketeering, Diddy's been denied bail. A federal judge made the call after hearing arguments from both legal teams, which means he's staying locked up while this high-profile case plays out. On September 17th, things took a serious turn when Diddy's 14-page indictment was unsealed, laying bare the dark accusations against the music mogul. He's facing some heavy federal charges, including racketeering conspiracy, ST by force, fraud or coercion, and transporting people for P. According to court documents, Diddy allegedly used his companies to bankroll and organize so-called freak-offs, disturbing gatherings where victims were reportedly D'd and placed in bad situations. As expected, the internet exploded, and it wasn't just fans reacting. Big names in the industry have also been weighing in. Drake made his stance pretty clear with that subtle Big Short post, but others were far less subtle. Soulja Boy, for instance, didn't hold back on X, saying he would have K'd Diddy if he ever tried him like any of these gay rappers. Meanwhile, 50 Cent, who's never missed a chance to troll, took aim at the 1,000 bottles of lube reportedly found during a raid on Diddy's home, turning the whole thing into meme material. Not just Katt Williams, but Charlemagne the God, Boozy Badass, and others have also shared their takes, showing just how deeply this story is rocking the industry. And with the details still unfolding, it's clear the fallout is far from over. But that's not all. Remember when Katt Williams said a bunch of major names were on those Diddy tapes? Not just mentioned, but literally heard screaming. Back then, it sounded like a conspiracy theory, but now it's not so hard to believe anymore. As the head of Bad Boy Records, Diddy quickly rose to superstardom and threw some seriously extravagant parties to match his status. These days, those same wild events are getting a lot more attention, and not in a good way, because of ongoing civil lawsuits and his federal trial. That said, not every party carries the same level of serious accusations.
And if I'm looking at any black guys that are A-listers that's bigger than Diddy.
TMZ recently got their hands on footage from Diddy's 2009 New Year's Eve bash in Miami, which brought together big names like Drake, DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, Chris Brown, Busta Rhymes, Fabulous, and a whole lot more. Many fans began to speculate about the truth of this incident and who was involved, including Diddy. It was clear that many people loved partying with him because he was basically the king of the early 2000s. What really went on behind the scenes, though, only the people who were actually at those parties knew.
If they got some tapes out there and it's with some underage, whether it's celebrities or not, it's going to be crazy, bro.
Sean Diddy Combs' former bodyguard is also making some explosive claims. According to Gene Deal, who worked closely with Diddy during the 1990s, the disgraced music mogul allegedly kept tapes of politicians taking part in his infamous freak-off parties. In a recent interview on the Art of Dialogue podcast, Deal suggested that Diddy's recent arrest might be tied to a wider corruption scandal that's currently shaking up New York City politics. He believes those recordings could expose some powerful names from both the entertainment world and political circles. This is all bigger than Diddy, he said, without naming who the alleged tapes are of. Speculation has fallen on alleged tapes of these sessions. However, prosecutors have not commented on them being filmed. Asked if there are any celebrities on alleged freak-off tapes, Deal responded, Diddy gave celebrity parties. So what do you think?
What's his name? Kushner? What's the other guy? Leonardo? Yeah, his name. Man, I don't keep up with these cats. But I heard.
Deal said that while the raid specifically targeted Diddy's properties, the arrests were part of something that is bigger than Diddy. However, things have taken a wild turn. Diddy's in court facing some heavy federal charges. But what really shocked everyone wasn't just the charges, it was what Cassie said on the stand.
And him doing some things with some other people. So it's quite a few tapes that might be out there, what they're hearing, and I don't want to see the tapes.
During her testimony, prosecutors asked her what set Diddy off, like what made him snap and put his hands on her. Her answer? She said she was getting ready to head to the OVO festival, Drake's festival. In her words, Sean came to my home and tried to attack me. And get this, she still went. Yep, even after that, she hopped on a flight to Toronto and showed up at OVO Fest. People in the courtroom were stunned. And honestly, if that's not a clear motive, what is? Diddy clearly felt threatened, like Drake was getting too close to his girl, and it wasn't just in his head. There was already this old rumor from 2013 that got brought up again during the trial, saying Drake might have signed Cassie to OVO. Whether or not that ever happened officially didn't even matter. Diddy believed it did, and that alone probably messed with his head. And remember that random tweet from Lil Duval? That resurfaced too. Back then, I heard Diddy swung on Drake in Miami for saying hello to Cassie. Everyone laughed it off back then, but now, it's hitting differently. Even Drake's music is starting to sound like it was dropping clues the whole time. Just go back and listen to 4 p.m. in Calabasas. It's like he was telling this whole story in plain sight. All you self-promoters are janky, and they trying to tempt me. The higher I get, the less they accept me. Even the OGs try to press me. Then he takes a jab with, take that, take that. No love in their heart, so they fake that. That's straight up mocking Diddy's tagline. He even references No Way Out, Diddy's old album. And this line, that man is not a man for you, scared of letting your skeletons loose. Now that sounds like Cassie may have told Drake some things long before this ever became public. It's wild when you listen to it now. Katt Williams really set the tone for 2024 with that explosive Club Shay Shay interview. Williams has remained vocal about the issue since 2024, when he was interviewed on a podcast. What started as a wild, meme-worthy moment quickly turned into something much bigger. Over the past year, Williams has stayed in the spotlight, not just for the laughs, but for the bold claims he made that now seem to be aging a little too well. One line in particular has stuck with people. All of these deviants are catching hell in 2024. At the time, it sounded like typical Katt Williams energy, but now it's starting to feel like a prediction.
All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you.
With scandal after scandal rocking the industry and Sean Diddy Combs at the center of one of the biggest ones, folks are starting to revisit that interview through a whole new lens. Williams didn't hold back when it came to Diddy, and with the mogul's legal battles now front-page news, people are wondering if Katt was calling out something the public just wasn't ready to hear. Katt Williams didn't hold back when it came to Diddy, and if you've been following his recent interviews, you know he's been on a serious truth-telling streak.
Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about.
During that now viral sit-down with Shannon Sharpe on Club Shay Shay, the conversation started with Dave Chappelle turning down that $50 million Comedy Central deal. But then, Katt took a sharp left and brought up Diddy. P. Diddy be wanting to party, and you got to tell him no, he said bluntly. I did. I got the receipts. That line alone had people doing double takes.
Right, because P. Diddy be wanting to party, and you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no.
But he didn't stop there. In a follow-up interview with GQ, Katt opened up about even more. He got personal about why his feelings towards Diddy run so deep, and it all ties back to Tupac. When I was young, Tupac was my favorite artist. I loved Tupac, and I felt like we were kindred spirits, he shared. Then he hinted at those long-standing rumors connecting Diddy to Tupac's death. So if I hear you were responsible for knocking my N off, he trailed off, but the message was clear. I don't care what job I end up in or how things go. If I find a way to get you, that's what I'm all about. I just don't want you walking around scot-free. Katt even went as far as calling Diddy a demon. He explained what he meant by that. You're a demon, and I know demons are powerful, but I also know why they're powerful. There's cold spiritual warfare going on out here, and that's part of my job is to stay focused on that. It's not just shade, Katt's making it personal, spiritual, and dead serious. If it turns out Drake's voice is actually on those S tapes, it brings up a whole new wave of questions. Was he a part of it? Was he caught in a bad situation? Was he unaware of what was really happening? Either way, this story is way deeper than people thought. The craziest part? This may just be the beginning. If those rumored tapes ever see the light of day, and if Drake's voice is really on one, it could be a game changer. For now, everything's still in motion, but it feels like the industry is holding its breath. Legal experts are saying those S tapes are still sealed for now, but once this trial wraps up, they're expected to go public. And if Drake's voice is really on there, it's going to blow this whole thing wide open. And of course, the internet's already doing what it does best, speculating, connecting dots, and trying to figure out what really went down. And honestly, this feels just like the beginning. A user commented, anybody who speaks at Diddy's party needs to also tell us what they were doing. Swingers' parties don't have onlookers. Everyone is required to participate. And if you're invited to a swingers' party in the first place, then it means you must have shown some sign that you were into those things. Random folks don't get invited. People are sharing some serious theories about Drake's connections with Diddy, and it looks like if his name gets dragged into the Diddy drama, his career could be in trouble. What do you think about this?